Hello, my name is Matt Wu. In this presentation, I will introduce Bell-LaPadula models. This presentation will cover the content including access control direction, access control list, define of Bell-LaPadula model, components and rights, principles, restrictions, applications, and finally, I will give a summary. At the beginning of this presentation, before the definition of Bell-LaPadula models, I will introduce the background knowledge of access control. Access control is a mechanical process easily implemented by a table and computer process. A given subject either can access a particular object in a specified way. Undelaying the straightforward decision is a complex and announced decision of which accesses should be allowed. These decisions are based on a formal or informal security policy. Access control is often performed by the operating system. Only the operating system can access primitive objects such as files to exercise control over them, and the operating system creates and terminates the programs that represent the users. In order to control the access to different files and different users, there are mainly two ways to manage them. The first is access control directory. One simple way to protect an object is to use a mechanism that works like a file directory. As a picture shows up, there is a list of files, and each user has their own access rights to specific file pointer. So the files get linked to every access right of each users. Every file has a unique owner who possesses control access rights, including the rights to declare who has what access, and to revoke access of any person at any time. Each user has a file directory, which lists all the files to which that user has access. For the second way to control the access is access control list. Here is one such list for each object, and the list shows all subjects who should have access to the object and what their access is. As the picture shows, you can see the access list is list as all user, and all access rights on the user is listed, and all of them will be linked to a file directory. This approach differs from the directory list because there is one access control list per object. A directory is created for each subject. Although this difference seems small, there are some significant advantages to this approach. In this section, I will talk about what is Bell-LaPadula models. The Bell-LaPadula model is based on the access control we talked before, like access control directory and access control list. Actually, Bell-LaPadula is built another uptopping building on the formal access control mode. It creates the several security labels range from the most sensitive down to the least sensitive. The Bell-LaPadula model is a state machine model used for enforcing access control in government and military applications. It was developed by David Elliott B. and Leonardo J. LaPadula. Subsequently, to strong guidance from Roger R. Scale to formalize the U.S. Department of Defense multi-level security policy. The model is a formal state transition model of computing security policy that describes a set of access control rules which use security labels on objects and clearance for subjects. The Bell-LaPadula model is an example of a model where there is no clear distinction between protecting and security, because each user could customize for each user with permission between less sensitive to most sensitive. In this section, I will talk about components and the rights of the Bell-LaPadula model. The Bell-LaPadula model of protection systems deal with the control of the information flow. It is a linear, non-directional model. This model of protection consists of the following components: a set of subjects and a set of objects, and an access control matrix, and several other security levels. I will talk the different level of security later, and the Bell-LaPadula model has 4 access rights as following. Read only. The subject can only read the object. Append. The subject can only write to the object, but it can't read. Execute. The subject can execute the object, but can neither read or write. Read and write. The subject has both read and write permissions to the object. Then let's look at the picture of the security levels. From the top to the bottom is top security and security, confidential, and unclassified. So the button items cannot read up to the top items, and the top items cannot write down to the button items. For example, confidential can't read security, and confidential can't write classified. In this section, I will talk about the principles of the Bell-LaPadula models. Based on the formal information of the components and the rights of the Bell-LaPadula models, we have a basic concept of how the model could do. And in this section, I will talk about the model defines two monetary access control rules and one discretionary access control rules. And the Bell-LaPadula model's meaning has three security properties. The first, the simple security property states has the subject at a given security level may not read an object at a higher security levels. The second, the star property states that a subject at a given security levels may not write to any object at a lower security level. And the third, the discretionary security property states that the use of an access matrix to specify the discretionary access control. So on the right of the view, there's a picture is a perfect example. Object A, object B, and C, each of them belongs to top security, and confidential class of security levels. And all of them has three writes: write, read, write, read, or write. So let's see the first column. Object A cannot read object B, which belongs to security. In the second column, object B cannot handle with object C. And for the last, read and write column, only the security level object could handle with each others, and it is a strong property. In this section, I will talk about the restrictions of the Bell-LaPadula models. We already talked about the rights of the Bell-LaPadula models in page 6. They are read-only, append, execute, and read or write. And so there is a following restrictions imposed by the models. The first, reading down. A subject has only reading access to objects whose security level is below the subject's current clearance level. This prevents a subject from getting access to information available in security levels higher than its current clearance levels. Writing up. A subject has append access to objects whose security level is higher than its current currency level. This prevents an object from passing information to levels lower than its current level. In this section, I will talk about the applications of the Bell-LaPadula models. The Bell-LaPadula models was firstly used for enforcing access control in government and military applications. Actually, the Bell-LaPadula model is a kind of state machine. The Bell-LaPadula model was put to practical use in the development of Multicus, a multi-user operating system in which computing processes were interpreted as subjects and the likes of memory segments and all input-output devices were defined as objects, while security and operating in accordance with the Bell-LaPadula model principles, multicast proved too cumbersome and problematic for some project members, who took off on a tangent and designed the simpler and more commercially viable Unix. In the final section of this presentation, I will give a summary of the Bell-LaPadula model. Actually, the Bell-LaPadula model did not create new algorithms to encrypt or decipher information for security. The think of the Bell-LaPadula model is similar to Java programming thinking. The difference between Java and the Bell-LaPadula model is that Java's state security level is categorized to public, protected, and private, which limits important information from leaking. While the Bell-LaPadula model holds the data by confidential, security, and top security. The data is protected by permission, a user, and an object obtained. However, privileges of the various security classes data relies on identifications from a user or an object. Therefore, it is risky operation to give a record privileges by modifying the access control list. The attacker might hack the list of privileges to pretend as an administrator. So some advanced authentication strategies should be introduced in theory. Finally, thank you to your time listening to my PowerPoint presentation. If you have any questions, you can contact me with the email list forwarding. Okay, thank you again.